Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reacts, where today we have ourselves a track from an act named Kavalkade, titled Prisoner in Me. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen. The album art here is looking very intense. Apparently this is due to be released soon. It's fantastic. Looking forward to hearing. We're going to listen through it from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's do it, Prisoner in Me. Oh, incredibly disconcerting. Phenomenal tone to those guitars.
As I stare into the mirror, my name is closer than appeared. I watch as they dwell, grinning back at me, yet they have no voice to speak. Wretched the wounds that never heal, oppress everything I know. Weekend, I watch it all unfold. Failure is nothing without fear. As I stare into the mirror.
Are we mixing around the panning of those rhythm guitars? I think we are.
The time has come. The veil is torn from chaos. A new world is born. Back from the ruins, we will listen. The hour where life and death are made.
And back to the refrain.
Where life and death are made. The hour where life and death.
Interesting cool response with the sonar though.
As I stare into the mirror, whispers into the silence, a void that fills the air. A glimpse of what will become, a life of nothingness, of sorrow and despair. Wretched the wounds that never heal, oppress everything I know. Wicked, I watch it all unfold. Failure is nothing without fear. The time has come. The veil is torn from chaos. A new world is born. Back from the ruins, we will listen. The hour where life and death are made.
Going down from that color in the high end is an interesting choice, but I like it.
The hour where life and death are made.
I can't tell if that was like a guitar solo or like keys. Like I know that there's guitar playing in it, and it does sound really neat, but also like the portamento or some of the legato technique or the slides or the glissando-ish kind of stuff was really fascinating. Just some really, there are either some really cool tremolo tricks going on. They could be tapping, to be fair.
As we walk through the gates, your honest mistake, selfish lies. But here at the end, what do you want from me? The time has come. The veil is torn from chaos. A new world is born. Back from the ruins, we will listen. The hour where life and death are made. The hour where life and death are made.
Crazy, just flew by so quickly. Really impressed with that one. We're going to talk about it more in the conclusion. And so welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Kavalkade titled Prisoner and Me. So first of all, what do we think this track is about? I've had to listen through it a couple of times because I don't think I got all the words clearly the first time, and I just wanted to sort of confirm my understanding of it is someone who is seeing in themselves like multiple figures, basically versions of themselves, or like wounds that haven't healed and things have festered from that. I think ultimately they're struggling with people's perception of who they are, or their own perception of who they are, and they're just wanting to like create a new world that might unfold there, you know, like with chaos in it, but the chaos potentially being a good thing, simply to try and sort of like to stabilize the kind of rut that they're in. Again, whenever they look in the mirror, whether it's their life or anything else, I think that's kind of what it's about. The prisoner and me sort of like releasing that prisoner by creating a new world for themselves. Either way, I think it's an interesting topic. It's not something that I hear too often. I think there'll be an audience for that. I think people will appreciate that. In terms of stuff that I think is done quite well within this, I think the vocal styles, the visceral nature of it, the tone, the angst suits quite neatly. I think that in a song like this, you really need to sound like you're committing to the bit. You need to sound like you're kind of like as under pressure and frustrated and furious. So in order to sell it, the expression needs to suit the tone. And while, again, a lot of people might sort of prefer more sort of like melody or color within the notes and stuff, as opposed to that kind of vocal fry, kind of gristly tone to it, I think there are styles of music where it works well. And I think the guitar part, especially the lead harmonies, they provide a lot of, the guitars are effectively the vocal melody, as like a sub-lead in that situation. I think because, again, of the decision to add vocal fry in the chorus parts, that contrast works neatly. They couple together. I think also it's the variety of different guitar riffs. I think in sort of like testament to their proficiency as musicians, because I have reviewed Kavalkade before and I typically have a good time with their music. I love the little hammer on they pull off, kind of kind of like in the way they have those sort of harmonies, in the way they don't necessarily have them on the same side of the stereo field. They'll have a few on this side and then like one on the other side, as I could call it, like a 3-in-1 kind of like ratio to it. And the drums will be consistent, sort of like pummeling away. Well, not consistently, to be fair. They vary in the way they meter their drum beats. There's not the same kind of float rhythm. They segment between parts. But there's like little variations on repeats of certain elements as well to keep things fresh, as I appreciate. I love the use of like the double kicks as well. Very tight on the kit with the different sort of like, so quarter the 16th note kind of triplet parts as well. Even some 30 seconds occasionally. But it's allowing ourselves to do whatever we want with the guitar through the loyalty of the bass guitar, providing a nice ground bit underneath it. And that guitar solo kind of dumbfounds me, because you think there's a certain level of technicality to the riffs and sort of like picked and sort of like legato parts and a lot of the verse parts, as well as the kind of picked like lead elements there, focusing on the kind of like those sort of chord triad based kind of like melodies in the hook sections. But then you get that guitar solo with tapping slides and like tremolo tricks and stuff like that. It was phenomenal. There's even some little kind of dub kind of chopped staccato parts, which I'm not sure are done either with them literally stopping them immediately or cutting the actual audio file in terms of production there. But either way, it's fascinating to have that kind of stop-starting element. It's a nice contrast to a lot of the more like whole tone held notes or of the rhythm sections with the power chord or elements and octave chords. And I think there's also some like key signature changes as well. That's like the final thing I'll talk about, because I love the studio production. Like at the beginning there with the kind of sort of strange ether to it, the kind of disconcerting, kind of like discombobulated, kind of like fading between the left and right there with the kind of shrill kind of squeak, almost like the screams inside of us, going into that heavy, hard-hitting dub bass and drum sort of like combination was just incredibly effective. So the studio production is fantastic. I love how things are leveled and mixed, and the clarity of the vocals in the mix and everything like that. And the heaviness of the rhythm guitars as well, kind of having that bass response to them neatly in time and in tune with the kick drums. But it's actually, yeah, the key signature changes structurally. Fascinating how we managed to not just stay within that same sort of idea. We might be modulating between concepts, but to make those different key signatures make sense is in a song, especially with how complicated it is in terms of its arrangement and performance, is a very difficult thing to do. But it's a very sort of like sharp way of insinuating a change or like a difference within a piece there. It's an effective way to get the listener's attention. And because they played the parts well, and because they wrote really interesting guitarists with enough variety in them, both rhythmic rhythmically, harmonically, and also in terms of the techniques they used. It works. It's a journey, a progression through it. But I think because of a certain kind of flavor and similarity of the textures of the different instruments involved, they didn't just have wildly different sort of structures to the layers. I think it was very effective regardless, you know. And the vocals, again, being more sort of fry orientated, they kind of let you know as you go along, oh, it's still the same song even if there are these twists and turns. These are just different angles of the tale. So ultimately, just a really effective piece. Really effective. I think the highlights for me personally were, again, the vocal parts, as well as the actual sort of instrumental performances and also the compositions and themes. But there's other parts to appreciate as well. For me, there's no real weak points in this track. I'm really impressed. I wish them all the best luck with their release, and thank you for watching my review of this track from an act named Kavalkade, titled Prisoner in Me. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via their various social medias and their YouTube and Spotify pages, and stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time. It's need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.